Hey there, Quinn here. Welcome to the channel. This isn't the content that we mostly put out, but it is something I'm interested in, so it could be something that is of interest or useful to you. Today we're going to talk about this Seamaster 300. It is a dive watch from Omega, and it is part of their heritage collection, so it's often referred to as the 300H, H for heritage. There are two dial choices. There is black, and then this model is blue. However, when you look at it in pretty direct light, it almost has some hints of purple, but then when the light isn't quite so harsh and it's kind of like more what you would expect naturally, it really becomes kind of a sleeper, as you can kind of see there. It does have an aluminum bezel. The bezel is also loomed, which is kind of nice, and it has the pip at the 0 marker of the countdown timer. This is the second generation of this. The previous generation did not have the lollipop seconds hand, nor did it have the improved end links, and I don't think it had the sandwich dial either. Obviously, the arrow indicator is for the hour, and then the longer hand is for the minute. You have the second hand, as mentioned, with the lollipop seconds hand, and the sandwich dial is pretty cool. It gives the dial a 3D effect, and that is because it truly is 3D. They cut the peekaboo or peek-through holes in to the top, and then they have a sandwich plate underneath where they apply loom to where the cutouts are, which are on the hour markers as well as on the 4 numerals. I really like this as a no date option. I have been moving towards watches with fewer complications, basically no complications. One nice thing that you get with this is that on the Planet Ocean, for example, that does have the date complication. The crown pulled out to that first position, adjust the date. On this one, which is the caliber 8912 movement, it has the jumping hour hand. So if you happen to travel a lot, that is very helpful. The watch itself is right in line with kind of the normal dive watch sizing, similar to a TAG Aqua Racer 41. It is 47.9 mils across from lug to lug. The Aqua Racer comes in right at 48. I had the Planet Ocean that came in at about, I think it was 46 and a half, 45 and a half. But it was kind of porky for that shorter lug to lug measurement. And this is also opposed to, say, Black Bay 54, which comes in with the 37 millimeter case and is 45.9 mils across lug to lug. So that is a full 2 millimeter difference between the two when you look at them. So it is kind of in the wheelhouse of what your normal kind of dive watch standard sizes are, and the case size is fairly robust at 41. My wrist size is 6 3/4, fluctuating up to 6.96 ish, depending on the time of day, temperature, elevation, etc. And this size generally is right at what I would consider my max wear. Although my wrist is that 6 3/4 to 7 inch size, it's 50 millimeters across the flat. So with a 48 millimeter lug to lug, I'm at about 1 mil on either side of it. This is comfortable, but I would say that it is on the heavier side, and part of that's because it is pretty thick, coming in at 13.9 mils, not quite as porky as the Planet Oceans that were just a hair over 14, around 14.2 mils. Lug to lug, or pardon me, in between the lugs is 21 mils if you're interested in straps. One thing that I don't like about that is that we have a non-standard lug size, so you have to go to Omega for the straps. So it's a little aggravating that they do that oddball lug width size, which kind of forces you into buying Omega branded straps often, but they want to keep you coming back into the store, right? So you can get this on strap or on leather. I have this on, or pardon me, on bracelet or on leather. This is exhibition case back as well, which is nice because it's a pretty decent size. You know, I don't sit there and stare at it, but if you're into checking out the mechanism, it is pretty well done and well executed. I have this on bracelet, but I do also have the leather, which is a Omega pin buckle. I prefer the deployment clasp, but I guess you can't get everything that you want. One thing that is kind of nice about this is that it is both COSC and METAs certified, which means it has more rigorous testing standards. I found this thing to be running fast about 2 seconds a day, which is within spec and pretty good, but not perfect, obviously. The bezel acts very bezel-y. Unidirectional. I mean, it's fun to fidget with, I suppose. I usually just leave it. Occasionally I do have to time something and I'll use it for countdown purposes, but you know, what percentage of dive watches do people dive with? Nicer stuff generally. I don't even take it in the salt water. I guess you could. However, if I'm diving, I, like most sensible people, would use a computer. For comfort, it is pretty comfortable. It is a little bit chunky generally and porky, so it does have some wrist presence and you can tell that you're wearing it. I would say that this flat link bracelet is exceptionally comfortable and really helps with wearability, although as you can tell, the previous version had polished center links and brushed sides. They've reversed it on this model, which I think will help maintain its, you know, good looks without the polished areas just tend to be a magnet for scratches. So hopefully this will alleviate that. The clasp the same way. I mean, it's, if you're going to wear your stuff, you're going to end up, you know, getting a couple of life marks on it. It does have the deployment clasp with the 2 push buttons on the side, as you've come to expect. One thing that this has that is super nice is the push to adjust glide lock system. The BB54 has the T-fit. This has the glide lock, and with on-the-fly micro adjustments, I don't know that I could go back to it now that I've had it. Really like the watch. It does wear a little bit on the large side, but it is a dive watch, and that's how a lot of them are intended. But the face, the dial, is kind of a sleeper, right? So you kind of have to look at it to really see what it is and appreciate it, which makes it wear a little bit more understated. Another thing that I really like is that it doesn't have a bunch of text on the dial face, right? It just has the symbol and Omega and Seamaster 300, and that's it. We're getting some of these watches these days that have so much on the dial that it's a little bit tough to see on that with the gilt against the black, but there you go, you can pick it up. It's like the Gutenberg Bible has been printed on there, and I really like this for its simplicity. The other thing that kind of drew me to it is the lack of the helium escape valve. I will never be in a situation where I'm going to be doing saturation diving, and I always thought that that was kind of superfluous. I was thinking about, I've had a Planet Ocean, was thinking about getting back to one when I saw this. I've really kind of been on this vintage kick, 50s, 60s kick, and this really just seemed to check all those boxes. Sapphire crystal is very well done, gives it a really nice look, and I wear this all day, and it's not uncomfortable by any means. Depending on the cut of your shirts, you may have a little bit of trouble sliding this under a shirt collar or shirt cuff easily. I usually just wear one button in the big position and my right hand in the small. Overall, I've been pretty pleased. Like I said, running about 2 seconds fast, and that it generally likes to be stored dial down. It runs a little bit faster if it's dial up. Within spec, but maybe close enough to the border that I could send it in for service, but I just don't want to be out of commission for that long and without it. So pretty pleased. If you're in the market for kind of a do anything, go anywhere, do anything watch that's capable, 300 meter water resistance, this should be on your list to check out. A great offering from Omega, paying an homage to history and losing that helium escape valve in the process. With the lollipop seconds hands and the pretty good lume. Let's see. I don't know if you'll be able to catch the lume in here if I kill these 2 lights, because we are getting some ambient sunlight. But it's really not a great example. We'd have to take it to the bathroom, but it does a great job. It's multicolor, again, as you come to expect from Omega, and I'm very satisfied with it. If you have any questions, drop it in the chat. I try to answer everybody. Thanks for coming by, and have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.